Hello and welcome everyone. I am your conversator, LaserMan320, as you cannot obviously tell from the channel name that you decided to click on. And welcome to a little bit of an experiment I had in my head for a little bit now. I actually wanted to do this a little earlier back in November with Apex Legends. Well, actually, I wanted to do something along along this lines of this caliber uh, in terms of making my tutorial, which is still in progress, but that's a whole other topic to begin with. But if you clicked on this video, I'd like to welcome you to the Quick Talk One Shot. Now, what is this exactly in this personal video idea? Well, it's exactly what it sets out to be in the title. It's just me sitting down for about I'll say less than an hour, probably 30, 40 minutes at most. And I will pick a random topic that comes to my head and my thoughts, because if I did that, then we will be here for like 5 hours straight. We'll be talking about what it is I think I would have done better, what it is I think that absolutely sucks about it, why I think that some detractors of it it's stupid. It will just go on and on forever. So I will take a topic, boil it down to its key essential parts as to why it is I think talking about it is worthwhile, and then I will let the ensuing chaos commence in the comics. As you can tell, I'm not exactly following the bullet points that I put on my slides here, and that's mainly because this is just side information, just for you guys to entertain yourselves with my commentary. You just look at it and go like, okay, cool, this, that, and the other thing. They're not really too important. It just what's important is just coming off my head. I have no pre-planned script here in front of me. I'm just sitting down at my table, just talking as if I was talking to a regular person. Now, you guys are more than welcome to hate me. That's actually kind of what I'm looking for. I legitimately just woke up one day and I said, you know what? What's the best way I can really tick people off about their day regarding any sort of topic? I know, get my own opinion about it, and do not give any sort of crap as to what it is our people have to say. Now, of course, I will be fair in saying that I will not be bringing up any information regarding race, sexual orientation, whether or not it's like appealing to uh, like a larger demographic, controversial topics that may be on news media. I do no pre-planned research in regarding these topics I talk about. I just see the finished product itself, and then I give my thoughts about it, and then you guys are more than welcome to hate me about it. Now, of course, the limitations that are on my end, I expected to see on your end too in the comments. As you can see, I put down there a nice little guideline for you guys to follow. Uh, use proper English, no random capital letters. Can't just say video bad, needs more funny, needs more pictures, needs more classical editing. Keep in mind, this is the first time I've ever used Premiere and OBS to this caliber, where I actually saved the video on my thing. And, I don't need like a super long goddamn essay. So that's why I'm saying, I knowing the internet, I know that you guys will keep your sentences concise and thoughts, lower down. So if you guys feel the need to actually extrapolate on a problem that I may or may not have said, which I am more than fine with hearing out, as I do tend from time to time get angry at certain content creators for what it is that they may say or what it is that they may do. Uh, like make a two-paragraph essay, 16 sentences. That's more than enough room to place down your thoughts as to why it is I'm wrong. If you had to make a list of certain things, as I may or may not joked about earlier on my Instagram, then you guys are more than welcome to do that. But for the most part, two 16-sentence paragraphs. No, do not include anything about race, about what it is that what agenda you're talking about, what it is you stand for. I don't really need to hear that. That's not what these videos are made for. That's not what I'm doing it, and whatever. And if you guys don't like it, hey, that's beyond okay. Sorry, hit my mic there. And I'm sorry for the noise that you guys might be hearing in the background. My little office space is currently going through some renovations right now, and I cannot pre-plan this anyway. But if you guys don't like this kind of content on my channel, that's more than okay. YouTube is a very diverse community, and I'm a somewhat diverse channel, playing lots of games, experimenting with how it is I treat and play my content. Even now with my God of War 100% series, or when I uploaded that video of me fully completing or getting the final completion trophy of BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle. Just like watch those if you don't like me doing this, and if you don't like anything on my channel, then why in the hell are you here? It's just like, you know, like I find it really weird that you would put yourself through this torment of just forcing yourself to watch my content just to tell me how much it is that you hate it. Just go away. It's not that hard of a thing to understand. Now, if you do like this series and like just want to hear me talk about whatever it is that you have to say, just put a comment down there in the comments. List any random topic, and I will legitimately give you my honest thoughts about it in the same format, same way. I might even tackle a couple topics in a video screen much like this, and I will tell them for you from like face glance. I might do like the barest minimum of like saying, oh, like if it's a game, I might like look up like a walkthrough of the game and say what it is I thought it looked pretty cool about it. If I have it, then I'll probably play like the campaign or something. I'll dedicate like a week into it. Just let me know, and I guarantee you I will give you my full opinion on it in the same format. Now, again, if you guys haven't noticed how it works, it's just that I take this. I might have some things going on in the background. Again, this is my first time editing any sort of thing of this caliber on Premiere. You guys just, yeah, it's not. God dang, this guy is annoying me. Okay, it's just that simple. Okay, no one is to be mad, no one is to be happy. They're just my own personal comments. If you find joy or hate about what it is I have to say, or my own 2 cents, then my goodness, go away. You can agree with it or you can disagree with it. That is fine. That is absolutely okay. That's kind of what is I'm hearing for. But if you wanna like explain to me, as I mentioned before, down in the comments, just say, hey, this kind of sucks for this, that, and the other reasons, and you just don't understand it. And I'm fine with that. I'm more than happy to learn and take the blame for any and all mistakes or misinformation that I may or may not have. Now, this all comes down to why it is I decided to do this. Well, for one, obviously, point there is that I'm bored. I've been trapped inside here for almost a year now, since February. I've been doing X, Y, Z. I've been reading. I've been playing games. I've been playing a diversity of role-playing games. I got into Fire Emblem, got into Switch. I've been reading. There just been lots of things that I've been doing over the course of the year. And don't get me wrong, I have no shortage of things to keep me busy. But it's just that I want to try to do something different. I want to innovate my YouTube channel. I want to try to add in and incorporate new elements to it, new things that I would never think twice about doing. And I legitimately just want to make sure that the things that I am making are fun for both me and the person watching this. And it's not just me on an endless grind fest to try and gain to gold, or me constantly dying over and over again, or me getting made fun of with some random 14-year-old I haven't met saying that how much of I'm a stupid noob I am. Alright? Cool. Now then. With that being said, obviously, if I'm going to do this, the first topic that I decided to actually do a video on is the Death Note 2017 Netflix adaptation movie, and doing a little bit of a comparison with the 2006 original anime and the 2017 uh, movie. Now, I know that com- the flaws in the movie get drived up exponentially when you compare it to the original, and that's because it is. That's what the that's the whole premise why the movie it exists in the first place. Is because someone saw the anime and thought that they could appeal it to Western, or I'm sorry, or rather Eastern, the United States audience overall, to just people who have Netflix in general. Wanted to introduce them, and this was at the time when they actually had Netflix. I mean, they had Netflix on Netflix. They had Death Note on Netflix for a good few months now. Hell, Netflix was actually the main reason how it is I actually finished Death Note in the first place. Previously, I had tried getting into Death Note twice before. I watched up to about episode 5, my first run through, and then on my second run through, I got to the point where Light had actually wiped his own memories and was and decided to work with L on the Kira investigation case, along with the Kira task force, Misa and all that garbage, and I couldn't actually keep track of the episodes I was watching, so I was lost for a little bit, and then a little bit after I finished it all in like one night about, and I was so amazed at the ending that I actually went back and I looked through the internet and I actually saw that there were two specials on the Death Note series that had two more extra scenes and explained the Shimigami that was speaking to Ryuk, uh, who Ryuk was talking to, the extra scene with L, the extra scene with Light on L's grave, L's fear of monster speech. I'll probably put those here if I can, but just saying that I had a great attachment to this series when I finally realized what it was about. So the fact that there was a live action movie about it that was going to be Western for America actually kind of set my expectations kind of high. And really, I don't know what else I can say about this movie that hasn't been said already within the past 3 going on probably 4 years now. Now, obviously, I'm not unoriginal as heck, and I'm just going to boil down the key problems with this particular movie all the way down to its barest essential forms, which are just the characters, and at the end, I'll say any other gripes I may have with it. Now, again, before I actually do start this comparison, I actually do suggest that everyone watching this video, I want you, and also spoilers, I don't know if that was something that you weren't aware about, but spoiler warning. Actually go and watch the movie if you can, if you have access to Netflix, and if you don't, I don't know, pirate or something. Just find a way to watch it so that way you get the context I have in this. Because I'm new to Premiere, so I don't know how exactly I can get clips and edit them into the way of what is I'm talking about right now. And this has been delayed for like about 3 days now, and I'm just kind of rushing through it at this point. And second, actually watch the anime too, so that way you know what it is and why it is I'm comparing these two in particular. Because, again, the movie is supposed to be an adaptation, so it's always good that you're staying true to the source material when you're making an adaptation of any sort in any show. First thing I want to get out the way was who exactly was this movie made for? Well, obviously, if you haven't watched the anime, it's made for people who just haven't had the time to sit down and watch 30 plus episodes of cold molecular like training of these people with like literal 5,000 plus IQ. It's like they're playing a live action version of Among Us uh, in the anime itself. It's cold, it's meticulous, and people just neither have the time or the patience to do it. As a matter of fact, I actually tried watching the movie with my own mother at one point in time, and literally within like the scene where you were introduced to Light's father and at the house when the train passed by, she literally said, "Hey, yeah, I'm not really into this all too much. I'm gonna go." And I'm gonna say right now, it does create that slow burn feeling that the original anime had, but like not to a certain extent that it'll that I consider to be one to one with original a one to one copy of the original series. Now, this could also be meant for people who aren't really into anime but like high stakes drama settings, detective. If there's one thing that Death Note does right, it's making high tense, high stakes drama scenarios, innovations that leaves the viewer wondering how exactly our main protagonist, our antagonist, however in the world you, whether if you're Team L or Team Light, you're looking at these characters wondering, oh my God, what are you gonna do? You really outsmarted yourself. You kind of played yourself and you backed yourself into a corner. What are you gonna do now? And just seeing all their plans and effort work around each other, like it's an amazing piece of detective work and investigation all put into this great show. And again, I can't stress enough how much I highly recommend you guys see this anime first and then go watch the movie, or watch the movie first and then go see the anime. I don't know. I put down there who doesn't know what a good movie is. Mainly because I'm saying that because of the actors. I actually did went back to watch the original Death Note. I mean the Death Note movie for this particular video, and like I'm kind of looking at it with new eyes. It has its flaws, but now that I actually sit down and calm down and stop and temper my expectations from it being an adaptation from the original and just looking at it as its own film, I can definitely see, and I don't agree, but I see why people are saying that it's a good film, especially with younger audiences. The whole reason why it is I made this video, or why it is I decided to tackle Death Note at all in the first place, was because one of my classmates had actually stated that they had watched Death Note, the Death Note movie, when they were gathering source material on Shimigami, spirits themselves that are supposed to lead people to their deaths, or entice them, or invite them to death itself, or make them to embrace death. And they had mentioned the Death Note movie and how they thought it was actually pretty good. And you know that kind of disagreed with me before because it has been almost a full 2 years since I've last seen that movie, and I can't help but just remember flashback to how disappointed and how mad I was for, again, I was comparing it and seeing how it fully adapted from the original anime, which it didn't. Now, people who don't have tolerance for deeply calculated plots or high thrill fantasy and instead a somber slow burn that leads to action, I mean, like, that's kind of what it is. There's something about a 40 to 30, I mean, I forgot how many episodes exactly. Was it 30 or was it 40? Or over 39? I don't know, I forgot. There's something about 39 22-minute plus episodes that can't be put into the staging ground for an hour and a half movie on Netflix, nonetheless. There's sacrifices and things that have to be done. You, there's no way you can fully put in the plot line or effect of how Light tricks a known serial killer to attack a bus that he's on in order to get the name of the person that's been following him. There's no way that you can get the scene of the L and Light's I am justice scene when L outsmarts Kira at this point, not showing him his name or face. There's something about the fact that you can't have 2 to 3 movies focusing on the fact that L can't exactly pinpoint why it is that Light is Kira, even though he's next to dead sure about it. And it's just clearly explained in the movie. There's something you just can't do about it. So obviously compromises have to be made. And it was obvious that they were going to lean to the direction of showing off what Death Note didn't about the orphanage, on how they're going to make the greatest detectives the world has ever seen. The philosophy aspect of what it is to cast judgment on someone, what gives someone the right or the passion to create their own judgment, giving someone their own purpose. That's their own philosophy theories, or what it is that they think that they should do in the movie. But as in the show, it's like you can't adapt that into the mind span or attention span or patience limit of a Western audience. I mean, look at our state right now. I'm talking mainly about America. I don't think I can speak much for the rest of the world. I don't know how varying degrees your patients are, except for Canada. Canada is like probably the most patient, or Canadians are probably the most patient, most well-giving people I've ever seen ever in my life. That and Buddhist monks. They know patience like no other. And yeah, just low philosophies types. There's clearly a message in the story in the movie that it wants you to see and talk about and discuss later on your own, but it doesn't dive into it for itself. Now then, on with the meat and grittiness. Comparing Light Turner to Light Yagami. Two very conflicting, different characters. One thing I want to get out the way right now. Nat Wolff, I'm pretty sure that's his name, right? He played in like the Naked Brothers like band or something. I don't know. He was in a social band when he was a kid. Listen, this guy cannot act. He doesn't embody what it is Light Turner Light Yagami stood for in the original anime. He has this one plaster face. If you were to take this exact picture and compare it to next to every scene, except for the ones where his mouths are open when he's talking and when he's screaming, if you were to compare this exact same face to every single frame he has in the movie, I guarantee you it's going to stay exactly the same. This guy cannot make any other facial expression except for dead serious body deodorant commercial. He's not cold and meticulous. His intelligence is thrown out the window. He's basically any edgy teenager ever to exist on the face of mankind. And it's annoying. I'm not saying that because he's white or because, it's a stereotype of white kids being edgy or whatever, that the people don't understand him. No, I'm not saying that regardless. I'm saying that this character sucks. The way how he's portrayed, the actor, his lines, his own deeply found logic. It's all wrong. Again, I'm comparing this with the logic of the anime. He made his own character based off a pre-established character, and just completely butchers any and all appreciation that may have come from this new outtake, and was the main reason why I was kind of skeptical, because at the beginning when I saw those trailers of him screaming, I was like, yeah, that's a little bit of an overreaction. This guy just doesn't know how to act. Whereas like Yagami here, he's cold, he's malicious, he's stoic, he knows how to fake emotions on a dime. I'm talking about both the original Japanese voice actor and the English voice actor. He does an excellent job in conveying just how serious and low stakes and how cunning Light can be when naturally no one can know his name or face. It's like he's playing chess every single step he takes. He he's cautious, he's malicious, but again, he is a 2D anime guy, so that's kind of whatever, and that's not really gonna get the uh, American girls here to get Barbie dolls of him or Ken dolls, whatever the hell. These two differences right here, especially when it's the main protagonist, or in this case, one of your main protagonists or antagonists, depending on how you see it, is really distinctive because it's the person that the audience is supposed to relate the most to, what it is that they're going to be introduced to, how it is that they're going to be treating their minds to the rest of the medium that they're watching. Light in the anime is both talented in terms of his studies and very cautious. He doesn't run in head first, but he will make gambles when he is certain of his chances and the payoff that may come with it. Whereas Light Turner here, again, I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt that it is an hour and a half movie and this guy cannot act. He jumps too fast to conclusions. He's too sentimental. He doesn't know what it is that he's supposed to do. He's not treated as a madman. He's not showing any descent from grace, how Light Yagami does in the original anime. It's weird, and I do not like this guy at all. Personally, again, these are all my opinions. Excuse me, while I please take a drink of water, because I am running out of breath. My laptop's about to die, hold up. There we go. Now then, our next antagonist, protagonist, however as you see it, L. L is probably the one good thing that came out of the movie. He is a near one-to-one like carbon copy of this. I don't care about the fact that he changed his race or whatever. If I care about the fact that he changed his race, I would have complained about that when I was comparing Light not 2 minutes ago. This L is weird. He's silent. He has the same backstory of him being in the orphanage, being trained to be one of the greatest detectives known to man. He has had a history of cracking down big scum drug trades. They are nearly the same person. But the fact of the matter is that near the end, this L, the L in the movie, or which I'm just going to dub movie L and anime L, movie L actually is shown to lose his sanity when he realizes the one thing that he actually cared about in this world and fully legitimately sees is gone, is just not going to happen anymore. He can't give him back, and the only way that he can satisfy this loss is by getting rid of the person that took it. And slowly you can see his own descent from grace. Now, this is where I kind of feel where L and Light took their switch and roles when converting from the anime to the live action movie. In the anime, Light was this prime top of the line student, good grades, the ability to get any girl that he wanted, and did to his own advantage. He didn't care about any of that. He just cared about the fact that he was living out his own ideals to become the god of the new world. Whereas L here in the anime, he just cared about serving out justice just cuz. No one should have this amount of power to serve out their own self-justice, treating who it is as right, who it is as wicked. Whereas Light in the movie is just, oh hey yeah, I have this awesome book. You know what? I'm gonna kill off all the bad guys who make it hard for people in this world. And he starts out off with the bullies. And then he started off with the person that killed his mom, who was an absolute dirtbag. And then he just started killing off people who were just bad people who were just bad people in general. They all just completely flopped. And and L here, he's cold, he's meticulous, he's really well studied, but you can tell that there's something off about him by the fact that he knows down to the exact minute of how many hours that he's been up, how many like pieces of candy that he's eaten, how long exactly his body clock needs to remain up. The fact that Watari is less of a servant and more of a instructional guide teacher that sings to him. Now, like almost like a spirit animal father figure type hybrid. Now that he's gone, he realizes that the one thing that was connecting him to any sort of humanity is just snaps, and he goes off on a wild tangent that still trying to retain any form of likeness to where he was before when he first started. And I really think that the movie L, was really well done up until the end, where he completely throws all his principles and morals out the window in exchange for a pure violent action, just pure unadulterated blinded rage, where he gets his Deckard's Blade Runner gun or whatever, goes off on a chain, starts doing jujitsu while wearing free running parkour type, just jumping up on desks, jumping everywhere, and it's absolutely amazing. And then at the end, where it shows him at the actual breaking point, where he realizes just how exactly Light and Mia were able to kill off so many people in such a short amount of time, including the FBI investigators. He finally just kind of like, you see the disbelief in his eyes. And right before Ryu comes in to kill off Light, it just bam, cuts the credits. And I felt like that was absolutely amazing. And oh yeah, if it wasn't obvious, L killed off Light while he's in the hospital in the movie. There's that line that Ryuks said, where every moral human spends their last living moments within the presence of a Shinigami right before their death, and all that matters is how, whatever. So I'm guessing that in the movie he was going to die off with a heart attack, and Death Note 2, the movie, was going to probably take off from how L will probably use Death Note, try to understand and reconcile what Light was doing, what Light and Mia were doing, and he will have to go up against Nier, or N rather. Nier and the other guy. What's the name of the other guy? The guy that liked chocolate? Forgot. Comparison number 3, Ryuk. Nothing much to say here, actually. I thought he was actually really well done. The one thing that I would say that Ryuk could probably had overhauled was the fact that he has too much skin relatability. Now, I know that's a weird term, but let me explain myself. See, Ryuk in the anime, he isn't too articulated. He comes from a world where moisture just doesn't exist. That's why he really likes the apples in the real world. They're really juicy. They're there because he likes the fact that apples in and of themselves are this unique form or presence that he can only get in human form. They're sweet, they're delicious, and they make him feel, hydrated or whatever in the anime. And so, in that sense, when I'm thinking that when you're converting this particular person or being from an anime to the big screen, I would imagine him being not only just a monster on the outside with this queer, crazy look with mysticism, but I imagine that he would be dry bones and just really just demoisturized, not have this much articulation in his movements, not have this free forming contortion in his lips. Even though we don't really see his close-up face too often, it's apparent that he has bones and body mass and muscles when he's supposed to convey that he's a spirit of death. When I'm thinking death, I'm thinking skeletons, dry to the bones, looking like they're going to crumble to dust at any given moment. But everything else considered, I really like the fact that they stay true to Ryuk's character, that he's just there just to watch and see what happens. He's not there because, oh yeah, I chose you because I want you to be the successor of the Shinigami or whatever the hell. He's just there just to have fun and see what the hell is happening. He only gives advice or only tells people when he thinks it will be interesting. Like the plot point in the movie where he says that only one name can be burned out, the Death Note. Or in the anime where he looks at Light and says, "Oh hey yeah, right away, yeah, I really don't like you. I'm not here because of your morals or principle, whatever. I'm just here just because I have to be. But there's a guy following us, and it's really starting to bug me out." Or how in the movie where he legitimately likes Misa, and calls her out for being a really good character because she's smart. She likes the girl, and tries to tamper and meddle with Light by not telling him certain things because he didn't ask. Whereas in the anime, Ryuk observes Light's criticism and cunning and plans on his own, like how he attacked that bus driver that one time, like I mentioned earlier, where he tricks him into picking up a piece of the notebook paper, and the man, the crook, the bus robber, actually starts opening fire on Ryuk himself. And he does this self-commentary of, holy crap, that was amazing. I would never thought to think twice of that. And it's amazing. So, all in all, Ryuk, excellently done. Who voiced Ryuk in this? It was Willem Dafoe, right? Yeah, pretty sure. Now we go on to Misa. A bit of a mixed bag, not gonna lie. Now, let me explain this. I'm not saying that this particular Misa is bad, per se. It's just that it's a little bit weird. Again, I'm harboring this off the expectations of this being an adaptation. So I'm looking at it as if it was supposed to be one-to-one. But there has to be a point where I have to say, yeah, okay, they want to take this in a certain direction. But when you sit down and watch the movie for what it is, instead of what people wanted it to be, like how I did when I was making this video in the first place, in a slideshow, I just looked at it as, okay, that's actually okay. And it's a little bit weird, because in the movie, she's been relegated to nothing more than a cheerleader. She's just there just to exist, and people look at her like she's pretty. And she has this one line in the movie that kind of set me off, but I can kind of somewhat understand. And that was the fact that she is a cheerleader and that nothing in her life matters. Which I can see is reflected in the fact that, yeah, people only look at cheerleaders because they're hot and they're sexy or whatever. And nothing else really matters to them. You just go like, oh, hey, yeah, look, she's really cute and all. And that's it. You speak nothing more of them. And that's fine. And she finds her own purpose in the movie through Light and a Death Note, find her own purpose of getting rid of the bad guys, find her own job and use to society as a whole. Instead of just being a pretty face, she's there actively taking part of what it is going to be the shaping of a new world. Whereas Misa in the anime, yes, I am saying Misa because I found that scene absolutely hilarious. Misa. Where Misa in the anime is kinda really very annoying. I mean that in the most... I'm not saying this because that she's a woman or she's a she. I do not mean anything by that of her sex, wherever. I mean that because I don't like how assertive she is or how overdramatic she may be in certain scenes. hate the fact how generic her, the fact that she's a woman is, in the scene where L and Light are on campus at the university and they're talking about the Kira task force, or whatever. Then Misa comes in and then L straight up just gropes her and she's like, "Oh my god, someone touched my butt." I don't like that at all. I feel like that it ruins the flow and the pacing of this dark, demented, detective style anime. But I like the fact that they included her solely because of the fact of showing how the rest of the world and how some Kira worshippers and followers like Kira or worship Kira to an extent that they will go as far as to giving the whole body and mind for what it is that Kira has done, just so he can continue doing his work. I'm talking Kira as an idea, not because like Light is Kira or whatever, or that it's just the fact that hey yeah I wanted to meet Kira and thank him personally, not because oh yeah I'm just a random little town girl and I have nothing better to do in my life, so let me go off and do this. She was an idol. She had literally every single chance, every single possibility at her disposal, at her fingertips, and she can just snap her fingers and go, yeah, I want that one. I want that guy. I want to marry that guy when I was babies, or I want to have a nice, successful life. She had all that and more, but she was willing to throw it all away in for not only love, but for the fact of the matter that Kira got rid of the person that killed her parents and oh wait no, I was getting ready to say was probably the one responsible for killing off the guy that was going to kill her, but then I remembered that was what was her name? I forgot. The female Shinigami, the other one, the one that's really bony, and I forgot her name. Rima, I forgot. I'll put it up here. I don't know. So I'm a little bit at odds here as to who it is I think is the better Misa. One Misa, just the movie Misa. I don't know why it is I'm saying one Misa, two Misa, three Misa. Misa name is Jar Jar. Misa like you very well so much. God, that's so fucking bad. Alright, but all things considered, I I kind of want to say that they're both good and they're both bad within their own rights. When I look at them both as their own separate entities, I see them both as their own unique spin and take on the idea of a girl who wanted to be something more than herself and wanted to throw everything away just for the fact that they feel like they can do something useful. When I'm comparing them one to one with the expectation of the movie being an anime, I mean from the movie being like the anime, I see the fact that Misa is just really beyond annoying and takes too many steps in order to become, the main role villain that Light clearly is supposed to be. And Light doesn't do much about it. Aside from the fact from this one scene where Light wants to kill off her where she wants to kill off Light's father, and after his dad did a press conference with the media about Misa killing off the FBI investigators, but then he didn't let her. Or the fact that Light uses anime Misa's Shinigami eye powers and doesn't care much else. I'm kind of conflicted here. It's just I really like both of them, but with their flaws and all. But it's in this weird middle ground, especially after just seeing or watching the movie just now. Well, not just now, but like having it fresh in my head, which again I recommend that you guys do, so that way you guys understand the concept of what is I'm saying. Again, please, for the love of goodness, if you're going to watch this video, at least have watched the Death Note series at least once, or at least have some knowledge of it, watch a couple episodes of it, and then go watch the movie and understand why in the world it is I'm making this video. Or why it is I thought it would be good. Oh wait, no, I actually told you why it is that it was going to be good. why it is I did it in the first place is because my classmate. Yeah. Okay, now personal thoughts. This movie was interesting in concept. I felt like there was a lot of potential here. I felt like there were so many things that they could have gotten right, that they could have tweaked more, that they could have expanded upon. I like the fact that Ryuk was just there just to have fun. I wanted to see his side life, what it is that Ryuk was doing when Light and Misa were having that montage of kissing, hanging out, and killing off random people when they were starting to form the name of Kira. I want to see why exactly L, or how exactly L was it able. Well, actually, no, they kind of no, never mind that part about L. I was gonna say I want to see how L exactly pieced together, or how L came into being, of wanting to take on the Kira investigation court. I wanted to see just the more reactive world building of how extreme people were taking to the streets and worshiping Kira instead of having it be relegated to a montage. I wanted to see how people in the streets and Light's day-to-day life from school, how it changed from pre-Kira to post-Kira, when it was yeah, dang it. It was there were so many things here. And don't get me wrong, the movie does shine at some parts. That part where all the FBI investigators go to the roof and simultaneously jump off, and L just completely loses it. I felt like that was amazing. More of that, please. The effects of that bully getting absolutely decapitated by the ladder, amazing. And honestly, I don't think that they could have picked a better shot of the film to be in that trailer. But the core asset of the film, that being Light, the dynamic he has with Misa, when you're coming fresh off the mind of the fact that this is supposed to be an adaptation of the original series, you're left with this sour, bitter taste in your mouth going like, well, why didn't they do this? And why didn't they do that? It's because that they can't fit it all in the movie when they're trying to have their own spin on this particular adaptation. When they're trying to introduce and ease in people into the series. Now, if you were just to watch the movie by itself and not have any interest in the anime, I would completely understand. Because just watching the movie on its own doesn't do the anime justice. Because again, it doesn't stick too well with the source material. But you have to, but I do understand why. And watching the movie on its own could be really good and really dumb to some other people. It just is in this weird little limbo now. And honestly, it's just kind of weird. It's almost weird to a point where making this video was kind of weird, just really disingenuous, and I didn't want to actually do this. I was going to make a video on Call of Duty. I actually made a comment on Macro's channel when he did his little supervision thing on the new Black Ops that came out, Black Ops Cold War. And I posted in the comments this weird paragraph on how it is I thought Call of Duty was declining over the years. And I was just going to read that and just try to tweak it and just say my thoughts about it. Which is actually, I'll probably do that after this. Actually, you know, I will do this after this just to have something else to work on. But the bottom gist is, it's just in this weird little middle ground place that I just can't really say whether or not it was worth making. Do I think that this was an amazing idea, an amazing concept? Yes. There are certain scenes that I can't like really put like a time down on it, but there are certain camera angles and scenes in the movie that I really think that they did well. They had interesting lighting, there was an interesting dynamic. The scene where Elle was in the Tokyo nightclub, I thought that camera angle and approach, the scene itself, the introduction to Elle's character, I thought that was done perfectly. To introduce Elle's character, he was stoic, he was calm, he was focused. It showed just how weird he was, just how observant he was. I felt like that could work if there was just more scenes of that when he was expanding upon or learning more on the Kira investigation scene, and not just jumping through like a whole bunch of conclusions and just showing off the fact that he was a real detective badass. I felt like he could have done more. But when you compare it to the anime, it just sucks because as a fan, you're left with this expectation that hey, yeah, no, that's not how this is supposed to be. Misa isn't supposed to be this observant. She's just a clown girl that is obsessed with Kira to the point where she just wants to give up everything just to help him because she thinks she wants to be part of something. The fact that people are complaining, oh yeah, freaking Misa isn't supposed to have the big Dom energy. No, that's we as fans don't like that. And this movie sucks. It's horrible. I'm not saying that Misa should just be relegated to just that one and done tool that Light could have used it in the movie, or like just make a complete rehash of the character. But at least find like a middle ground between staying true to source material and then finding her own voice and way. Light is something else entirely. He is completely disappointing from the actor that they chose to his overall motivations. He doesn't even give a speech as to what it is that he's aiming for. He just straight up just has this weird temper tantrum rant. And the fact that and the way how he goes about recruiting Mia or showing Mia is absolutely kind of stupid. And I really don't like that scene at all. When they're in the computer lab or the computer room, and she just says, "Hey, yeah, I want you to touch this book," and then they got rid of the idea that if you touch the Death Note, you'll also be able to see Ryuk, or if you touch the notebook yourself, you'll be able to see or understand Ryuk, and Ryuk has to kind of stay with you. I kind of really hate the fact on how Light is kind of over emotional. He's not just this stoic, observative, and cold-hearted, malicious planner. He's more or less just this guy with problems on how he sees the world, and no one understands him. Screw you, Dad. You'll never understand. Just, it's weird, and I don't like that version of Light. Misa, again, I said, is a little bit of a mixed bag for me. L, done perfectly. Ryuk, amazing. I really think that they could have done just a little bit more, but as he stands, he was absolutely incredible in his role. I don't want to dive into, the Light's father, the aspect. I don't want to dive into the fact that they got rid of the Kira task force or the guy that worked in the office. I don't want to get into Rotari, other than the fact that they added more to his character, even adding on the fact that he meant something more to L than besides being a servant that just brought him sweets and candy and told him what to do. And like I'm not really gonna much tackle on the idea of this movie ever maybe possibly getting a sequel. Which, if it was going to get a sequel, I was just gonna say or state that it was going to start off with L killing off Light, Turner in bed, Ryuk saying, "Hey, yeah, by the way, you're gonna die now," and then his father's going like, "Who the hell are you talking to?" And he dies there in his literal deathbed, while a new set of killings may happen through the fact that uh, his father may have confiscated the Death Note, and here comes I don't know. I have my own like personal theory as to what it is that they could be doing for a sequel, or may not be doing, or that they could have done for a sequel. But as time goes on, especially during this year in particular, it feels like less of a possibility of and more just going off into realm of obscurity, especially considering how this movie was received by the public, especially the fans, and how it generally did overall, especially with the casting call and all that stuff. Now, what I am going to dive into is what these two particular versions of Death Note stood for on their own. In the original anime, I felt like it had the idea of how someone was going to go to achieve their own ideals. What it is someone is willing to sacrifice, what it is someone is willing to be a part of in order to achieve a greater whole. Teamwork, my friends are my power type crap, because it's always an anime. What really goes on between the hearts of others when confronting about a global issue problem? I'm not gonna play the race card here because again, that's not what this series is about. But you can clearly see the fact that this was tackling something more than just being a high thrill fantasy. It was tackling the fact of the matter that people don't see the same problem that you do. They see your issues, but you see a threat in the anime. And that's what really stuck with me the most. Because, at the time, I was actually finishing up middle school when I had first completely finished the anime. And, not going to go too much into detail here, but going into high school was actually kind of crazy and nuts. High school, my freshman year, was actually a completely different story on its own. So I felt like I related more to the overall theme of the anime on its own because of its theme of self-worth, what it is that you're doing, what's your main purpose, do you feel like what it is that you're doing means anything valuable to those around you, stuff like that. It works. Whereas in the movie, it's more or less just people going through the stages of what it is that they want to achieve and be part of when they're in a position of power. You can see L's decline from sanity, this all-inspiring hero of the story, or wannabe hero, or whatever, slowly decline down when something personal to him gets taken away. The one true thing, and you see his sanity start to twist out, and he's no longer just this really smart and talented detective. He's more or less just another mortal like you and I. And he held himself in such a high position of power, even calling out people's flaws, and entitlement, and how it is that they're entangled in their own righteous thoughts. And then you just see them just completely get tossed out the window when Watari goes missing, and he goes straight to the light in his dad's house, and straight up just says, orders everyone to tear down his own place of being, the one place where he's supposed to feel safe. You see how determined he is to find where exactly his lost friend and mentor is, what it is that happened to him just on a random night. You can see it in his heart, in his eyes. Ryuk, again, nothing much can be said about him. I thought he was really great. Thought he was really good. And Misa, again, mixed bag. And I think that should about wrap it up there. Yeah, I've been sitting down here in this spot for almost an hour. Legitimately did not think this was going to take me this long to do or describe, but that's kind of the whole point. This is my one-shot attempt. So yeah, I did this as a test to myself because this idea actually came to me for two main reasons. First off, I am taking a class this year, my senior year, this class called Masters of Speculative Fiction. Long story short, it's just a class where we just sit down and talk about different forms of media, how it is that they reflect the real world, and we have a discussion about it. As I mentioned before, the whole reason why it is I decided to do the Death Note movie in particular is because one of my classmates thought it was really good, and I disagreed with them, and that kind of inspired me to just sit down and, you know what, let me rant about it. Now, this particular format, I'm not sure how obvious it was, or if I made any sort of parallels to it, but this particular form where I sit down, I look at Google Docs, and I just say, is actually inspired by Austin from the Game Theorist, or Shoddycast, whatever it is that you follow him on, and his The Science series, where he, in all of his episodes on science, he starts off in Google Drive, and he makes a new Google Docs document, and starts typing dear whatever. I have a problem with what it is you say because it's not logical, and here's why. He starts spouting science facts left and right, saying what should happen and what shouldn't happen. you know, teaching us overall how it is it should work and teaching the real world by itself. Not sure how much it is I incorporated or copied, but you know, I just wanted to be sure that if you guys noticed, yeah, that's kind of what it is I base it off of. God, I'm breathing a hell of a lot. I probably should have done this in like parts or whatever. Uh, yeah. Uh, so the second part that inspired me to do this is because I'm actually planning on making this part of my project that I had it in the works for a little bit. Well, not I mean no, not in a little bit. I mean part of a project that was assigned to me from school. I'm not going to elaborate too many details on it, but I'm just going to say you guys are going to see my innermost salesman. Uh, Not sure if you guys can take that with a grain of salt, especially since me talking is kind of annoying with me stuttering. I don't know how many times I've stuttered here left and right, but I can definitely hear myself slowing down, not being too explanatory enough, especially when I'm just thinking out of my head as I go, just rambling thoughts that come out in appearance. It's a little bit weird, but I am trying to work on it to be, you know, slightly a little bit more funny. But, you know, if I'm not funny, then I'm sorry. You can always go watch my other crap and see me be funny. And, yeah, I'm not sure what else it is I can say. If I work on that project and I decide to do it in this style, I will definitely be uploading it here. But if I don't, then I don't, and if I don't upload this, then I don't upload this. I'm pretty sure you guys will be able to tell whether or not I uploaded this or not. The amount of effort I went to editing this is probably not going to be a lot because, again, this is my first time ever working on my own, like, little personal or any sort of project in any sort of video editor at all. I haven't even gotten through the regular tutorial for Premiere as of the time of recording this. Hell, my first initial project I was going to do on it was this Apex tutorial, which I now think I'm just going to do it in this style if I know relatively how it is I'm going to edit it. It's a little bit of a weird mixed bag, but whatever it is I decide to do, I know that I'll do it, and you guys are either going to hate me for it, like me for it, think I'm really cool, you're going to absolutely hate it for it, and like two paragraph sentences, remember, 2 paragraphs, 16 sentences, more than enough. Do not involve race or call me whatever sort of names that you do. And if you guys are gonna call me out on my stuttering, just know that I am trying to work on it. And it's easier for me to not stutter when I'm in my own clear mind and not in some tense situation where there are a million things happening at once and I'm not talking to someone in a short time frame span type. So, yeah, there's that. And, yeah, is there anything else that can possibly get off my mind? Like I said earlier at the start of this isn't going to replace my content that I'm working on now. Don't worry, I will upload the next part of the God of War series. I just need to get that off my PlayStation, and then I'll just upload it from my laptop because I don't know, my PlayStation just can't upload the videos anymore. Or it's not willing to. I don't know, I probably have to smack it a bunch and just make it work. And, yeah, I don't know, just here's some stuff for you to look at, I guess. Whatever happens, if you guys are watching this as a video, that's an unhealthy amount of white light in your eye. But, I don't know, I guess I'll put something up there just for you guys to look at. Again, go watch the original Death Note series. If you're not a fan of loud music, don't worry. There's not a lot of it, but you can definitely see and appreciate the amount of detail that went into making the series as a whole. And I'm pretty sure recently, last year in fact, or 2 years ago, it actually started continuing its manga again. I'm pretty sure anyway. But, yeah, that's gonna be all for me. Be sure to check out my other videos. I'll put them up here. I completed, again, don't know how many times it is I'm gonna say this, but I completed Blaze Blue cross tag battle. I 100%ed it. Uh, I'm not really sure what else it is I can put here. This is my first time doing this. Like, subscribe, all that stuff, and yeah, I'm gonna shut up now. Thank you for coming to my presentation.